Hi ladies, it's Sarah Prince of mynaturalbabybirth.com. Today is day 2 of our becoming 2 and 2, that's 4, 2 of becoming fearless for birth, 8 simple ways of getting out of your own way. 8 simple things of getting out of your own way, however you want to call it. Yesterday we talked all about how to face those fears and getting them in front of you. I hope you downloaded your workbook and did that first worksheet. If you don't have the workbook, there's a link there in the post, and I will also put it here in the comments right there. You can grab that, and you will likely, as we go on, need to print out multiple copies of some of the pages, because you'll apply them to like multiple fears or multiple things that you'll want to do multiple times. So make as many copies as you want. Okay, so I didn't hear about anybody's fears yesterday. I guess you're all just fearless already and foolproof. That's okay. It's one of those things where if you want to share, that's great. If you don't, no problem. But this is completely open. This is a safe space for us to support each other no matter what we're going through. So if you do have questions or want to share anything at all, we are all ears, and I am here to help too. Okay, so we're on day number 2. The second letter in fearless is E, F-E. We did face it yesterday. Today, E stands for examine. We are going to examine your fears, and not so much that they get blown out of proportion, but we're going to examine them enough so that we know how to deal with them. So thinking back on the same analogy that we used yesterday about picturing your load as a boulder and setting it down in the Grand Canyon of your life, where this boulder or this rock or this load you have is your fear or the issue you're trying to deal with. Now, no matter how big or small that load is, that boulder, you still have to examine it to know how to get over it, right? You're going to make a lot more effort to climb over a boulder or walk around it versus just stepping over a rock, right? Or you're going to take into account the type of clothing and shoes you're going to wear if you're going to surpass a bunch of crevices and a bunch of boulders if you're bouldering versus just walking across a trail of pebbles, right? So think about that metaphor in relation to how you're going to examine your fears, because you've faced it, you've looked at it, now you have to decide, okay, this is how I'm going to get over it. This is how I'm going to understand it, right? Okay, so we have to make that judgment, and that's kind of the best analogy I can give you for that. So what we're going to do today, there's a worksheet in your workbook called the 5 Whys. And this is a simple exercise that you can do to examine the deep down roots, really the core meanings of why you feel the way you do about anything. So I want you to take that 5 Whys worksheet and pick it's best if you use one worksheet per fear that you have and do all of them that you listed through yesterday. But at the very least, you're going to pick your top 2 or 3, the highest, most ranked fears that you have that you scaled yesterday, and you're going to apply them to this 5 Whys technique. So how this works is you're going to dig down at the root of these fears. Think of it like digging out a weed. You can yank off the stem or the leaves and the weed looks like it's gone, but really the root is still there. And we have to dig down and get at that root to understand how to get rid of it or how to deal with it. So what you're going to do is list out your fears. Say you're afraid of pain. Okay, wait, no, let me give you an example. One of my fears as a mom is if I was to get pregnant again, since I am in my 30s now and getting closer to age 35, I know that there are risks associated with the mother's age. And moms that are 35 or older start to see a dramatic increase in babies that have things like Down syndrome. So that is one of my fears. If I was to get pregnant again, I am technically older on the prime pregnancy scale. And so let's take that fear as an example. So with the 5 whys, what I would do is I'd write down, okay, I'm afraid of having a baby with a disorder, like Down syndrome. And then I'm going to ask, why? Why are you afraid of that? Okay, well, why am I afraid of that? I'm afraid of that because I feel like it would be such a difficult life for my baby, and it would be such a hard time and such a struggle to take care of that child because they are special needs. Okay, great. You've asked one why. Now you're going to ask why again. Okay, why are you afraid of the fact that your child may have a more difficult life and that you would have a more difficult life taking care of that child? Okay, why am I afraid of that? I'm afraid of that because I'm worried the stress of it all would perhaps push things over the edge and I wouldn't be able to cope, and it would ruin the relationship I have with my spouse or family, etc. Okay, that's the answer to that why. So then I'm going to ask why again. Okay, why are you afraid of that stress and losing the positive relationship with your spouse, etc.? Okay, why am I afraid of that? Okay, I'm afraid of that because if I can't keep it all together, and maybe if my relationships are so strained that I might lose them. I might lose the happy joys I have in my life now. Okay? Now ask again, why are you afraid of that? Why are you afraid of losing those relationships or those joys? Okay? Why am I afraid of that? Why would I feel that way? Because that would mean I'm not good enough as a mom, or I can't do enough. I'm not enough to take care of my family and my life and relationships. And so you can see the pattern of digging down and asking why multiple times, at least 5 times, so that you can get as deep as you can. You can even go to 5 to 7 times. Ask why of your previous answer. Why are you afraid of that and that and that? And most of the time, like 80 to 90% of the time, the deep down root core of why you are afraid of something with your birth or your baby, anything at all, most of the time our main 2 reasons of being afraid is that we aren't good enough, or that we will lose something we love. That we're not good enough, or that we'll lose something we love. And once you realize that, I want you to think about, is that true? Is it true that I am good enough, that I'm not good enough? Is it true that I will have lost my loved ones forever? Is that true? No, it is absolutely not true. Because if you weren't good enough, you wouldn't, maybe we shouldn't go down that route. But the fact of the matter is, you are a mother with these divine gifts and abilities, and you have been blessed with this experience. And you are just like everybody else around you. We were all the same, and yet we are all so unique and divinely special in our own way. And that means we are absolutely always enough. Always enough. We wouldn't have the abilities and gifts that we do have if we weren't. It's not true that you're not enough. Second thing, if you feel you'll lose something that you love or someone that you love, if that were true, you would never have the blessing of experiencing life with them or life with that thing you love at all in the first place. But you have. And we don't know the future. We don't know exactly how everything's going to turn out. But you have experienced this life with becoming a mother or with your family and loved ones. And no matter what happens or what turns out, you will never lose the experiences that you've had or will have. You will never lose that. So, As you go through the 5 Whys worksheet for all of your fears, I want you to dig down into those deep reasons and truly think about, are they true or not? Okay? Then, oh, let me say one more thing. I have a note here. One of the things I used to say to myself a lot when I was first pregnant was in thinking, oh, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can do this. And I used to tell myself, I don't even remember where I read it for the first time, but I would say billions of women have been doing this for thousands of years. Billions and billions of women have been doing this for thousands of years, and you are just like them. So of course you are good enough, right? And that always kind of buoyed me up to getting over those deep fears that weren't true in the first place. Food for thought. Okay, now the next thing I want you to do is the same thing again about with the 5 Whys worksheet, but I want you to ask yourself, why do I want to have my birth this way in the first place? Why do I want to go through this with joy in the first place? Why do I want to have a positive experience during pregnancy and with my baby and with my labor and delivery? Why do I want that in the first place? Okay, and then setting aside the whys of our fears and the negativity, now I want you to focus on the why, the deep, true why you want to do this in the first place, and then you can dwell on those deep, loving feelings of why you're making this decision in the first place. And then you can weigh the two deep whys between your fears and between the choices you want to make for your baby and your birth, and you will see that the truly positive why is going to crush the deep false whys of your fears. I hope that makes sense. It can be a little deep to think about when you first get into it, but if you need to watch this video again and go through those worksheets a couple of times, do it. Because when you realize that the roots of our fears are false, and then the roots of our positive decisions are glorious, then you can be intentional about choosing to focus on the good, so that you can get over that boulder and go around that hurdle and let go of that load that is holding you back from experiencing a fantastic birth that is about to happen. Okay, let me check my notes to see if there's anything else I wanted to say. No, that's all. If you guys have any questions about this, leave them below. I would be happy to answer them. If you have any mom friends that are pregnant and you think they would benefit, feel free to add them into this group. We will welcome them and introduce them. And if you have any questions at all whatsoever, this is an open dialogue. If you have questions, let me know. Okay? So, you might have a lot of writing to do tonight with your worksheets. Print off as many copies of the 5 Whys if you need. Do them for your fears, and then why you want to have this birth this way in the first place. And then you will start to get real clarity on the actual truths about what you're experiencing right now. Okay, we're just up on 15 minutes, and we wanted to keep these short, so I will see you again tomorrow for day 3 of Becoming Fearless for Birth Challenge, and I look forward to it. Have a great day, guys. Bye.